Hi. For today's video, I wanted to make something relaxing. Also, something that's super light, not heavy at all. This recipe I have been making for many years, and it's so simple to make. All you need is some of these basic ingredients and a few utensils, as you can see. This is what makes this unique recipe so special, because it's unique in its own way. So, shall we begin? First, you're going to need a bowl. So, I've selected just an ordinary bowl, about this big. So just lay it down nice and gentle. It is always recommended to preheat your bowl first. So what I do is I take my bowl and I just rub it. You want to rub it. Give it that friction it needs to warm up. Rub it all over. And from the warmth of your hands, you're going to have that bowl warm up pretty fast. So, now that we have our bowl preheated, or warmed up, as I said, we have 5 eggs here. You want to crack your eggs in the bowl very gently. This is where most people, I would say, make the mistake. They crack them too hard. So you just want to give them a little tap on the bowl. Put them in the bowl. You see how gentle I was? You could barely even hear it. Very soft. Because when you're making this recipe, which you probably already guessed, like I said, it's a quiche. I'm making a potato quiche. It's my version of a quiche and an omelette, if you want. But very tasty. Now, let us continue with our eggs. So, that is 2 eggs. 3. 4. And 5. Just have my area a little bit here. You don't want to whisk the eggs right away. Give them a few minutes to relax, to settle themselves in the bowl. Now, while your eggs are relaxing, basically you could do the same thing. If you're following me, take your time. You don't want to make a mistake now. I have also here, I have cup of milk. Well, actually, it's 3/4 of a cup of whole milk. You want, and it has been warmed up to room temperature, as so have the eggs. Everything has to be warmed up. It's less of a shock that way. It's always necessary in cooking to do this. Now, and pour it gently over the eggs in the bowl. That's it. Nice and easy. Now, before we get to the mixing part, I have here my container of cornstarch. Grab your teaspoon, and you want to add a teaspoon of cornstarch into the mix. There, so. Seasoning depends on, I would say, the person. How do you like your seasoning? Me, I prefer just basic seasoning. So I have here my pepper. If you like a lot of pepper, just ground that up, put that in. And now, a pinch of salt. If you like spices, you could go all out. You could add even cinnamon. You can add nutmeg. If you want it hot, you could go for a little bit of chili. Yes. You can add a few chili flakes. Few. That'll give it a little something. Now that we've added just about all that in the mix, take your bowl, nice and gentle now. Take your whisk. Now you want to start to whisk your mix. I could use a blender or a handheld mixer, but this is gentler on the eggs themselves, so just want to mix that up, incorporate everything so that it blends real good. As you can tell, I'm not beating the eggs. I'm not overdoing it, like I'm still giving it that gentle touch. You'll tell when you start to see bubbles forming, you'll know it's pretty mixed. And we don't want our cornstarch to have any lumps. So There. Now we have our egg mixture. Put that aside. You want to start by preparing your potatoes. So I have here 2 potatoes. They've been pre-peeled, so it's always good to prep in advance. Now, I want to slice them. So take your knife and you slice your potatoes. And you want your potatoes to be about that thick. A little bit thicker than the knife blade. Do the other one. Also, when you're slicing your potatoes, like any vegetable, when you have your knife, you want to insert the knife in the potato on sort of a 40-degree angle. The impact is very, very gentle. So, like so. There. Now we have our potatoes done. Let's move the bowl over a bit there. Now we have our onion. You could use onion. You can use shallots, anything you basically have in the kitchen. I like to use onions, red onions. So I've peeled the onion also, and I've soaked it in water, in warm, tepid water, so it has time also to relax and release those gases that are what makes your eyes burn. So, take your knife and you want to dice up your onion. Or your shallots. So, put that over a little bit here. I have a clove of garlic. You don't have to put it in if you don't like garlic, so dice up my garlic. The garlic, you can put that in your bowl right away. Now, we're getting there. How are you doing? Are you following me okay? You're going to see this is going to be so yummy and fluffy. I have also a green pepper, a bell pepper if you want. So take your knife and you want to make some slices. Your bell pepper, you want some long slices. And of course, I have removed the seeds in advance, so I always keep them for planting. There, side. I have a few mushrooms. I want to dice them up. You can cut them up in sections or slice them, or if you don't like mushrooms, don't put in any at all. Now, what you want to do is you want to take your frying pan and want to put in your vegetables. Your mushrooms, your onions, and your peppers. In your frying pan. Put that on the heat, and you're going to add a teaspoon of butter. Now just stir that. You don't want to overcook it, and you don't want it to brown. Just cook it nice and gentle. So I'm going to let that simmer a little bit while it's reducing. Now we can start to prepare the assembly. I have here a dish. This is my glass dish, or Pyrex. It's 9 inches by 9 inches and 3 inches thick. So you want to place that in front of you. Now, start by taking your potatoes. You want to layer them in your dish. Like so. That's the first layer. Now, take your bowl of egg mixture, grab that ladle, take a ladleful, pour it on the first layer. Yes. Very good. Just to cover the first layer of potatoes. I'm going to turn off my heat for my frying pan, my vegetables. I have here 2 types of cheese. Yes, I have mozzarella and provolone. So, grab your grater. Cheese. You want to grate some cheese over the mixture. I also add a little bit of Parmesan Reggiano. So there. Now, you want to add, grab your frying pan. It's had time to cool down a little bit, but you want it while it's still hot. So you take your spoon, gently spoon your mushrooms, green peppers, onions. Spread that gently. There you go. Over your mixture. Now, take your ladle, another batch of your egg mixture on top of that. We're getting it good. Now, take another batch of potatoes and layer in your potatoes. There. Grate in some more cheese. You can just take your bowl and pour the rest of the mixture. Careful not to drop the ladle. So, pour the rest of the mixture on top of the layer of potatoes. There. Now that everything's been covered, you want to add that last layer of cheese. So, you want it to sort of sink into the egg mixture. So, there. Very good. I always like to top it off with a bit of paprika. And right on the very top, I have here some sliced ham. Very thinly sliced. You just want to layer that sort of in strips on the top. That's sort of like the bacon of the quiche, if you want. You can also add, if you want, on top some more sliced green pepper and just a few pieces of mushroom. And one last touch of Parmesan Reggiano. There. That should do very well. See? Dish, what it looks like. So now we want to put it in the oven. We're going to put it in the oven at 350 degrees for 45 minutes. Then, because we need it to rise, be very careful though not to walk around the oven area or make any loud noises or bangs or that would make your quiche drop, because it will rise and gain a few inches. So be very quiet. And once you've cooked it for 45 minutes, keep watching it too though, that it doesn't burn after the 45 minutes. You might have to add it in maybe for another 15 minutes Or even, if you want, you can put it on low broil for about 5 minutes, but watching it. So we're going to go put that in the oven. I'll cook. And we'll be back in a second to show you the final product. So I'm back. Now that it's had time to cook, I also let it cool down before slicing it. That way it has time to firm up. Here you go. Take a look at the final product. Can you tell? Look how good that is. Looks yummy, doesn't it? Well, there you have it. Your quiche, your potato quiche omelet. So I hope you enjoyed this video and you were able to follow everything. You take care. Relax. You know we love you. And be catching you on our next video. Bye for now. Bye. So get cooking and make it light and fluffy.